In Ireland, we came across many unexpected discoveries, but before we began this exploration, we never could have predicted what we would find here. This week we visit a huge 60-bedroomed mansion with impeccable architecture, functioning power and water, and bizarre remains from recent times. Join us on what we would describe as the standout exploration from our trip. On the drive towards the site, we took in the isolation the people that would have formerly lived in this area would have endured. Not much further down the lake lied a grand mansion that was built in the late 1700s and boasts more than 200 acres of land. We began the trek approaching the property at the old gatehouse, which featured various disused CCTV cameras, at least we hoped. It was important to us that this manor explore worked out well, as we had already failed a similar place on our first day. During this attempt of a house that was in a much more urban area than the one shown in this video, we were close to the building when we spotted a person watching us from the school neighbouring the site. As this was only hours after we had arrived in Ireland, and with so many other places on the map to check out, we weren't taking any risks. However, it was key that we didn't show the onlookers that we were running, because they might think we were doing something dodgy, like stealing or vandalising.
Don't run now, don't run now.
On the final day of the trip, we returned to the structure, but this time a loud alarm was going even before we had arrived. We still thought it was necessary to take a peek at the site, as the school was closed for the day. We made it past the point we had failed to last time and got right up to the house. We even thought we'd found a way in, but it seemed it was only a trap to get us to be seen by a concealed camera, which caused a security announcement to be made. We are not sure if you can hear it on this video, but it wasn't a recorded message and stated that police would be called if we didn't leave the property immediately. Sometimes it's only fair to say we were outdone by the defences on this building.
We tried. We made a good effort. Yeah, I didn't see it.
Back to the place in question. Thick undergrowth surrounded the mansion we wished to infiltrate today. After what felt like an age of fighting through bramble bushes and fighting off ferns, we could make out the building down the hill beneath us. It seemed that we had overestimated the security of this site, as eventually we managed to reach the open external regions of the structure and there was nothing protective to be seen. The cream-coloured ornate mansion was almost mythical to see, as it doesn't appear that many have seen it. Unless you are a member of the family or a passerby boating across the lake, the manor's grounds are so private that it is hidden away. Connecting to the main building is a stunning Victorian conservatory made with iron. Inside it is completely overgrown and neglected, symbolically representing the treatment the site has received since closure. Soon enough we scouted an easy entrance and we were in. Straight away, this beautiful ballroom gave us the impression that the entire building would be filled with the detailed design we'd seen in the first part of the structure we came into contact with. The long room led up to a vast bay window looking over the estuary, with parallel multicoloured stained glass on the opposite side. As we began to move through the lower levels of the main house, we sighted similarities throughout. Every room had the perfect amount of decay, developing the grand fireplaces, furniture, paint and coves. When the building was constructed in the 1790s, it was formed by one family, but quickly became the home for another family who were lottery owners. They were a famous family in the land and controlled the property for almost a century, through generations. Following their use of the estate, it was sold yet again to another family, but this was only temporary for about 20 years. The new family that bought the site weren't popular in the community, and during the Irish potato famine, they were responsible for more than 1,000 evictions. After they had vacated, it was used as a college for a few years before becoming the base for a convent, only to become a boarding school a few years later, which closed in the early 2000s. Meanwhile, as we were looking through the more architecturally stunning sections of the mansion, our friend Zevi, who joined us on our whole venture through Ireland, was looking over a completely different part. Extensions were added to the site, more than likely during the time the property had as a boarding school, so these corridors and rooms were modern compared to the Georgian era structure we just looked at. Zevi found a fully stocked kitchen which didn't even look abandoned, but this was only the start of an extensive list of discoveries. This part of the site looked too clean to have been disused for almost a decade, and he noticed that and decided not to continue looking by himself. Before our visit, we had contacted a local explorer who mentioned that during a visit he made to the site, he saw lights on in this building, so we were wary that we might not be alone during this explore. Obviously creeped out, and to be safe, Zevi made the choice to come back to the safer manor region to collect us, and then we returned minutes later together. It's a new microwave. First off, we inspected the kitchen a bit closer. New items like a microwave and toaster were plugged in, as well as stacked shelves and cupboards. We've come across untouched locations before, so this might just be one of those rarities, but then we found this. The 8th of July. There's bacon on the floor. That is days ago from when we explored this place. Really weird. People have been here really recently. Literally every single room has got a bed in it, and a lot of them have the sheets freshly made and like nah, this is weird. Every single room has a bed. So someone, or possibly multiple people, were residing in this site. We found a pipe which would give the property clean water, iPhone chargers, car keys, and then slightly afterwards, an axe. Naturally, at the time, we were very weirded out by these discoveries, especially as we didn't have a massive array of information about the building, so we quickly left the modern parts. At the time, we believed there to be squatters living in the building. Actually, however, just recently we have been tipped off that there was a caretaker living on site, so potentially a lot of the newer features we found were used by him. Back inside the country home, we wanted to check the upper floors for more of the architecture that had been portrayed downstairs. We were right to, because the same level of detail went into these upper rooms, which hadn't been modernised as we would anticipate. Most of the spaces were bedrooms, with many of them still having the bed itself gathering dust. On the contrary to the new belongings we had just found, in this section we returned to the old features we had missed. Newspaper remains showed a date of 1974, which was interesting to look through. This is one of those places that you can't believe is derelict. The views you would get from staying in one of the bedrooms was astonishing, and you can't imagine the demolition of the property, which has been planned since 2003. Since then, a factory's construction has been on hand, but the locals have rejected the idea, causing a decade-long legal battle over the situation. Suddenly, at the end of the battle, the company wanting to build the industrial site liquidated, so the building has been allowed further deterioration. To conclude our exploration, we began testing the lights in various rooms, with a lot of them working perfectly. It represents the hope in a damaged property that maybe, with the help of the local people, the beloved mansion may see use again in the future. Particularly in the ballroom, almost every bulb came on, and it showed the space in an entirely new light, illuminating the yellow walls and architectural details. Under these spotlights, we wonder how many families would have danced and used the space recreationally over the years, and if anyone else ever will. Done. Surprisingly, we were even able to leave through the front door, which wasn't even locked. The entire building has been neglected completely compared to the care and effort that went into its design all that time ago. Next time. Away from residential properties, in our next episode we are exploring two typical British sites of industry. Control rooms, walkways and huge machinery. We're going back to basics in our next segment. Thanks for watching our second to last video from our island trip. We aren't sure as of yet when we will upload the final one. Have you enjoyed the trip so far? Let us know in the comments. See you next time.